The heavy rains had transformed the once calm savannah river into a monstrous torrent. The sound of rushing water echoed across the plains, drowning the usual symphony of birds and distant roars. Amid the chaos, a lioness stood on a trembling riverbank, her golden fur soaked and her amber eyes locked on the unthinkable. Her cub was trapped on the other side of the flood, crying helplessly as the waters roared between them. Moments earlier, the pride had been moving toward higher ground, sensing the storm's approach. But a sudden surge of water tore through their path, sweeping the smallest cub off his feet. The lioness let out a deep, guttural roar, not of anger, but of desperation. Her heart thundered in sync with the raging river. Her baby was slipping away, his tiny paws clinging to a patch of muddy earth that was eroding fast. A group of wildlife photographers stationed nearby froze in disbelief. Their cameras dangled uselessly as they watched nature's most primal fear unfold, a mother losing her child. One whispered, "She can't make it. The current is too strong." Another murmured, "If she goes in, she'll drown." But instinct knows no hesitation. With one final, guttural roar that seemed to shake the storm itself, the lioness plunged into the water. The crowd gasped. The river immediately swallowed her, waves crashing over her back as she fought against the current. For a moment, she disappeared completely, her golden form vanishing beneath the murky torrent. The photographers held their breath. Was this the end? Then, like a miracle, her head broke the surface again. Her claws dug for traction against the invisible current, every muscle in her body straining. The water pushed her back, but she refused to yield. Inch by inch, she battled forward, her eyes never leaving her cub. The cub's cries grew weaker. He was slipping, sliding closer to the water's edge. But then, out of the chaos, the lioness reached him. She lunged forward with the last of her strength, grabbing the cub's scruff between her teeth. For a split second, it looked as though the current would take them both. Then, in a surge of sheer willpower, the mother turned with the current, angling her body to drift diagonally toward the nearest bank. Every second felt like an eternity. The river battered her relentlessly, yet she held her cub high, keeping his tiny head above the surface. The people watching from a distance could see her exhaustion, her trembling limbs, her raw determination. Nature had given her impossible odds, but she refused to accept defeat. Finally, after what felt like forever, her paws touched solid ground. She dragged herself and her cub out of the flood, collapsing on the muddy shore. The cub whimpered softly, drenched but alive. The lioness, panting heavily, lowered her head and began to lick him clean, her rough tongue sweeping away mud and fear alike. Silence fell across